Hi, this is just a very simple tutorial telling you how to make a needle felted animal or to get you started on your way. So this is one of the needle felted animals, this one for example, and this just starts off as wool. So I'll show you first of all what you need to make the animal. You need a foam pad, which is quite thick, and you can buy these online, and if you type in needle felting foam pad, you get a specific one, and this is basically your work surface. Then you need some wool. So this is merino wool, which is my favourite wool to use for needle felting because it's really soft, and it's quite easy to manipulate and pull apart, and it's not too tough. Then you need a needle felting needle, felting needle, which is this. Can you see that? It's very, very sharp. So when you are felting, you have to make sure you keep your eye on your work because it really does hurt if you stab yourself. And I've done it many times. Okay, you get these needles in all different shapes and sizes. I tend to use just the one, which is quite a thick needle because I find it easier to work with, but you can get them very, very thin. And generally the thinner they are, the more you use them for the little details and things like that. So let's get started. Right, here we go. So, first of all, I'm going to show you how to make a ball. So you take your felt, or your wool even, sorry. This is the merino wool that I'm using. And you just pull a bit of it apart. You need to be quite brutal with it. Just pull it, because sometimes it can be quite tough. Right, you lay that out on your foam pad. And then to make the circle of wool, all you have to do is start by rolling the wool, like so. Then every time you have a decent amount of wool there, you pick up the needle and you just, if I turn this around so I can show you what I'm doing, there's the wool. So this is the bit that I've been twisting. Twist it, get your needle, and you just poke it like that. And then you can put the needle and keep it there in your foam pad. And then you keep twisting. Now because we're trying to make a kind of a circle or an oval shape, we need to be starting to mould that shape. So we move the wool and manipulate it so it starts to form that shape. But everything you do, you need to felt. So you need to use the needle to keep it together. So essentially all I'm doing here is drawing all the fibres together and sticking it as if this was glue. Think of it that way. And then you keep going. So I'm starting to make a ball here. Now the firmer you want the little animal to be, so for example, one of my ornaments that I make is quite tough. You can't really squidge it. To do that, I would have to do a lot of this stabbing to draw the fibres together so they're really close and tight. But if, for example, I was making something which was a bit more of a teddy bear type thing and I wanted it a bit squidgy, I wouldn't need to do this quite as much, so the fibres are looser and then you get that squidginess. So just keep going. Now it's quite time consuming this, but it's worth it. Keep that going. Now you can see how this is starting to take shape, and once the fibres are entwined it's very, very difficult, almost impossible, to pull them apart again. So make sure you keep moulding the shape that you want as you go. quite noisy. And always make sure you work on the mat and you don't do this in the air, because for a start that's not really doing much, and secondly it's a lot easier to stab yourself that way. So after quite a long time of doing this, you get this, which is going to be the head of, it's probably going to be a little mouse, I'd say. I've also done another one which is more of an oblong shape, so you do it exactly the same way, you just mould it slightly differently. So you do more twisting and less of the folding, and you get that kind of shape. And that's going to be the body. So now I'm going to show you how to put the body and the head together so that they're not going to come apart. And remember, there's no glue involved in making one of these animals, so it's all done with just these things. So you take your felting needle, you put your two shapes together. Now I like to put the head down there and then the body there and hold it quite firmly. And all you do is you push the needle through one shape into the other and you just stab it again. So all you're doing here is drawing the fibres through one shape to the other and merging the two together. So you can see that's already stuck on. There's nothing moving there. And you do that the whole way round. So I'm going to go around this side. So whole way round like that. On the back. Try not to miss any of it. All the way around back to the front again. And then that's stuck on now, but just to be sure, we go the opposite way, so from the head into the body this time. So the fibres are drawn in both directions. And the more directions, the harder it is to pull them apart. So be very careful of your fingers with this. There we go. And a bit more, just at the front. And then just a little bit more for luck. There we go. There, that's completely stuck on. I'm really pulling there, I can't tug it apart. It has got a little bit of movement, so as you can see, you can move it from side to side a little bit. If you don't want that, then you just keep going until it's really solid. But I think that's okay for now, just for this tutorial. So there you have the makings of your little animals. So you've got the head, the body. Then you do everything else in exactly the same way. So if you want to add arms, you'd make probably this kind of shape, the body shape, but just a lot smaller. So you'd need a lot less wool. If you want to make legs, you do the same thing. Feet would just be little circles. And everything that you put on, you do like that. Like we've just done to attach the head and the body, you do it to attach the arms, the legs, the ears, whatever else you want to make. And then you keep going. It does take a little while, but eventually you can get something like, let's have a look, like this little one maybe, for example. So you can see how this would have started off like this, and then you just add to it and give it a little tail and then give it some accessories and whatever you want really. So there we go.